let's call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. And I see that we have some guests, so I want to welcome the guests, and let me start with them first. Well, I recognize Chuck. Chuck from Fountain, right? Or do I have the wrong Chuck?
Nope, that's me. I've sent in an application. I haven't heard back yet, so.
Okay, but you're from Fountain, right?
Fountain Valley Senior Center, yeah.
Okay, well, welcome, Chuck. We're glad you're here. And David Betzler is here. Thank you. And Paula is here. Good to see you as well. And then I have a new guest. I don't recognize Mrs. Flanagan.
Yes, my name is Eileen Flanagan, and I just today sent in an application. I'm interested in what you all do. I'm currently a clinical nurse educator at Pike's Peak Hospice and Palliative Care, and I'm just really wanting to know more. And since a majority of our patients are elderly, I'm interested to see what y'all are working on.
Well, welcome. Did you say Eileen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, it's nice to have you here. And thank you for being interested in joining our commission. And then we have Gretchen. Is that correct?
It is. Hi. Melissa invited me. I'm the supervisor of direct services with the Area Agency on Aging, Pike Peak, and just wanted to sit in and listen and find out what this is all about. Thanks,
Well,
Melissa.
Yes, thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Gretchen, for coming to sit in and keep coming back, because we're learning and growing every month, right? Okay, and then we have, oh, I hope I don't mess up your name here, Emmeline, am I saying that right?
Emmeline, yes.
Emmeline.
Yes, I was also invited by Melissa. I'm interning with her this semester. So yeah, I'm very excited to sit in and see what you all have to say.
Where are you going to school?
I'm at UCCS.
Okay, well, it's nice to have an intern, isn't it, Melissa? Yeah, I remember those days. Great. And then Jessica. Oh, well, so now that took care of the public guest, and now I just want to welcome Pikes Peak Area Council on Aging guest, and we have Jessica, who is going to talk to us in just a little while. So glad to see you, Jessica. And obviously Melissa is, gosh, our stalwart here every month, and then Jody too. Hi, Jody. Good to see you. And then obviously our commission members, and for those guests, let me just let them introduce names. And so my name is Mitty Pedraza, and let's go ahead. Let's CJ, you start.
CJ Moore, I'm an original commission member and retired from Kaiser Permanente and still going strong.
Yes, she is. Go ahead, Connie.
I'm also was started at the beginning of the commission when it was still under the city council, and I'm retired director at the Bridge Assisted Living. Retired like 3 years ago.
Thank you, Claire.
Hey everybody, Claire Anderson with Innovations in Aging Collaborative. Nice to see everybody.
And just for you to know, guest, that Claire is chair of our Policy and Advocacy subcommittee, and Connie is chair of our membership committee. And then we've got Lisa here. Good to see you, girl. And she is the co-chair or vice chair. So go ahead, say a few words.
You're muted. How you tell her she's muted? There you
okay.
go.
Hi, everybody. Elisa Santos, Vice Chair. I'm also on the membership committee with Connie. I am new to the commission, just about a year, and just really excited for where we're going.
And guests, just for you to know, we're all new to the Pikes Peak area as commission members, because we all moved over from the city to, so that's why I say when we're learning, we're expanding our wings into a 3-county area. And I saw someone else just get on too, who I'm not sure of. Jessica?
Yes, hello. I'm with PPACG, just making sure you guys got up and running and good to go there. So I like to check on the tech.
Well, good for you. Okay, thank you.
Guys, I'm sneaking.
Appreciate you.
Okay. All right, so we have a quorum. Let's go to our members. Let's go to our consent item, which is the minutes for February and the agenda. I just need to tell you on the minutes for February, there is going to be a correction because what we left off were the names of our 2 new committee chairs, subcommittee chairs. So Melissa is going to add them on, and it'll be posted then on the website with that correction. So saying that, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda, which include the minutes for February and the agenda for March?
I so move.
Okay, I need a motion from one of the now current commission members, but
So moved. This is Connie.
okay, and do I hear a second?
CJ did it.
CJ, thank you. All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, then that's little activity is done. Let's move on to public comments. And today we have Jessica McMullen here, and she is going to talk to us about policy and communication. And I'm really interested in hearing what Jessica has to tell us. So Jessica, thank you for being here and take it away.
Thank you guys for inviting me to join you. I am the PPACG Policy and Communications Manager. So here with PPACG, I do a variety of different roles, including helping with the Area Agency on Aging and all of our different efforts and committees. As the policy manager, I am the staff lead for the board legislative committee, and that committee reviews any and all legislation that comes up at the state level that may impact any of PPACG's programs or legislative priorities. So anything that will impact aging, joint land use study, military support, transportation, environmental issues, or any of our overall member government issues, we review those in coordination with our state lobbyist to look for issues that may be of concern and review those and see if PPACG needs to take a position or engage on those. Does anyone have any questions about that part? If anyone is ever interested in knowing what we're doing, we actually do have a online bill tracker that we use with our lobbyist that shows all of the bills we're currently reviewing, any positions we've taken. So if folks are ever interested in that, they can get that through Melissa or actually on the PPACG website under any of the legislative committee meeting agendas. They're all there.
So I have a question, Jessica. So who are the lobbyists?
We actually we have Lauren Furman is our state lobbyist.
Okay, okay.
So.
So this is maybe, let me just throw this out as a question. I went to, during senior lobby week or senior lobby recently in February, right? Mm-hmm. And I went to 2 of those webinars, excuse me. And I went to the last one, which was kind of a wrap for the entire week. Mm-hmm. And they had were you there? Or do you know if anybody from here was there?
I did not make it to those webinars. I actually attend the senior lobby legislative committee meetings on Monday mornings. So.
Okay. Well, just out of curiosity. So I listened to that, and the Speaker of the House, I'm trying to think, Alex Garnett, I hope I'm saying his name right, was speaking. And what he said was, we need more seniors. I'm paraphrasing so now. But in effect, what he said was, we need more seniors that are in legislators' faces, you know, because if they're not in their face, legislators are not going to pay attention to what's going on with seniors. So is that something that you would agree with, or that is there a trend that way? Is there something that we can put on our radar around that?
I'll actually say that it depends on the issue and it depends on the legislator. In many cases, especially with senior lobby, they've been doing a great job of getting people to call their legislators and engage. But for a lot of our legislators, there is a value in an individual citizen perspective, but there is a different value in an organization or a regional perspective. So senior lobby has a very good point of, yes, sometimes getting in the face of your legislators is very effective. Sometimes it's even more effective to get together with a couple of people and be able to say, hey, can we talk to you about this? Going things both directions works very well. Does that answer?
No, it does. Does anybody else have a question around that or a thought?
No, but that was a good question. I didn't know
have
enough
a-
to ask, so that was good.
I have a question. This is Elisa. I know we're talking about having a social media presence. Would it ever be possible when these issues are coming up, like what you deal with, Jessica, if we could share the bill information on our social media and maybe, I don't know what the best word is, like if they're too hard to understand, kind of, you know, break them down for people. So the demographic that we're aiming, that they understand what the bill encompasses, and we can be like an educational support for that as well.
That is actually easily something we could do, especially with the Ppacg social media efforts, where we also do the Area Agency on Aging. We work together to coordinate information to get it out and send it, and that would be easy to do. Part of my job is Idiot's Guide 2 for all of the language that happens with legislation and technical language in the organization. So
Perfect. So once we get our social media up and going, we could just share that information and be another outlet for people.
Yes.
Perfect.
Good thought, Elisa. I like that. Yeah.
Because I know sometimes those bills, the way things are worded, it's like you read it, even when I was doing my voting, you read it out loud and you're like, is that worded correctly? Did I read that correctly? What does that really mean? Like, what does that mean?
And so it's very helpful to be able to give someone, this is what the bill actually means in plain language.
Yes.
Here's what it will change or do, and here's what you should be doing with it. Like, this is
why you should be involved. Exactly. So we can help with that piece of it. Yeah, that would be great. Thanks, Jessica.
And Jessica, I'm sure you're going to be very valuable to our commission as time goes on. And so I really appreciate you coming today and explaining what you do. Sounds like you're a very busy lady.
I try to keep busy. The other half, and one of the ways that I'll be interacting with you guys a lot, is as the communications manager. One of my big jobs is taking everything happening at Ppacg and getting it out into the community. So all of your efforts are one of the things that I'm going to be trying to push out so people know, what's the Commission on Aging? What do they do? What's their impact? Hey, do you have committee openings? Let's share those into the broader world. So those are all some of the things
that would be extremely helpful.
That is. So that's a conduit for Connie there.
There we go.
There we go. See, it's all falling into place piece by piece.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else in terms of you, Jessica, or any questions for Jessica?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
here.
Hopefully that was helpful.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to hear from our brand new chair of, boy, I'm getting the language here, our chair of our subcommittee, the membership subcommittee. So take it away, Connie.
Okay, so we have had more, but there's two applicants that have submitted applications. And Lisa and I have interviewed both of them. There are more in the wings, but just know that process. And the first one is David Betzler. He's from Northern El Paso County. He is the chair, he was the chair of the Regional Advisory Committee of the Pike Area Agency of Governments. He has been involved with the Senior Alliance up in Monument. He's very, very well connected and very versatile. And then we have Paula Levy. She's from Teller County. She's the founder and ED of Daybreak Senior Daycare Center, the Teller Senior Coalition. She's been a trainer with the Alzheimer's Association, and she's the founder of the Golden Bridge Network. Both of these people come highly qualified and very, very well connected. The membership committee recommends acceptance of both of them to the Commission on Aging. On behalf of the membership committee, I make a motion that the board approve these two candidates.
I second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Well, I'm very happy and very honored to have two talented additions to our COA. Paula and David,
Welcome
congratulations.
aboard.
Yay,
Welcome.
good for you.
So we now, when I think of the map of the area that we cover, we now have Woodland Park and we have Monument. So that's great. Let me just give the floor to Paula and then David and let them say a few words, if you like. I don't want to force you to do that. And we didn't even tell you that I was going to say that. So it's up to you. But if you'd like to say a few things, you can.
I'd just like to say that I'm looking forward to participating on this. I'm a bit under the weather right now. I had my shot yesterday, so I'm not feeling very well, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to have an impact on the community and continue support for seniors in lots of different ways. So thank you.
Thank you.
I would have to echo those comments. I'm excited to represent Teller County in the senior arena and just add input in whatever way I can. It's a passion of mine, and I'm excited to be a part of this fun and collaborative group. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're glad to have both of you. Okay, so that's official. Wow, I feel like we've really taken a giant step. Okay, so now on the agenda, we are moving on to information items, and I'm gonna let Connie just kind of talk about what you're planning, my dear.
Okay. So again, we have a couple more. We have an interview, Lisa and I have an interview on Friday with Debbie Swanson from the Senior Resource Council. So I've been, just getting together with her and setting things up and then sending out the invitation and doing those interviews. So that's good. And then also when I reached out to the Senior Resource Council, I went on their first happy hour, that first for me, happy hour Zoom. And very, very interesting, very informative and very fun. But I was asked by Lucy Crandall to give a 3 to 5 minute presentation about the Commission on Aging. So that's going to happen tomorrow. It's at 4 o'clock and it's only 3 to 5 minutes, so it's very short. But she also gave us the opportunity as the entire commission to be on their membership. They have a membership meeting once a month, and that they are available from June forward. That we just need to pick the date, and then we will have like a 15-minute slot, which all of them, the commission members, can be there and do a question and answer. So we just have to pick the month we want to do that. Is that something we want to talk about on Monday?
Yes, I think we can take
Okay.
that to the
Yeah,
executive.
I'm gonna move that to that. So anyhow, that's a great opportunity. And I'm looking forward to that and just kind of keeping our ear to the ground and just trying to get the word out. And I'm very excited about that.
I just wanted to add one thing. We still need, if anyone has any suggestions, obviously we need some kind of representation in Park County so we can have a voice there to see what their needs are. So if anyone knows anyone and can recommend to Connie, we will be happy to reach out to them.
Okay.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, and just a suggestion, I am sure that Jody and Melissa can probably give you a contact in Park County to start with in terms of, asking that contact who they might know or how to get the word out there to solicit some applications. Okay, so anything else for membership?
No, thank you. Lisa, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, I appreciate that input. Okay.
Okay, and so we also have our very new chair of our policy subcommittee. And so I know she's got things going for later on. So you want to just talk a little bit about that, Claire, right now?
Sure. Yeah. The only thing I think just to update is that we do have I think we're going to have a meeting scheduled for March 24th at 2:00. And I didn't know, Melissa, if I could send out a Zoom invite for that myself to our committee members, or if you needed to do that, or what the kind of, what the rules were in terms of that. So we can connect on that. But I think that our group will meet for the first time on the 24th and just try to get some things going.
I know, I'm excited because I signed up for that, for Claire's committee as well. If there are any other commission members who are interested in policy and advocacy, then Claire would be the person to let know, or Melissa, and we can get you hooked into that little group. Likewise with the membership, if anybody wants to join the membership committee, then Connie would be the person, or Alyssa, to reach out to, or
Yes.
Melissa. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
All right. Any questions so far from anybody?
No.
Okay. Well, moving right along, we did have David McEwen was going to talk about housing, but I understand. I thought I saw an email. Melissa, you have to help. He's not going to do that today, right? He's not here. Okay. So we will postpone that to a later date. And was there anything else on the Resource Council that you wanted to talk about, Connie, or did you already cover that?
Yeah, I already kind of covered
Okay.
that. Sorry.
All right. Is there anybody else who signed up for one of these liaison groups that wanted to say anything? Maybe you've gone to a meeting or there's something you want to share. And if not, it's okay. But just remember what we're going to do. We're going to keep this list on the agenda. And as you gather information or maybe find a speaker that would be good for the commission, then please get hold of Melissa so we can put you on the agenda to talk about it, right? And then we'll bring it to our executive committee and when that can happen. So just let us know. Remember what our, remember we do want to liaison with different groups, and we do want to share information, and we do want to have a clear understanding of what they do, so there's not duplication of services and where we focus our efforts. So understanding what's going on in these groups would be very important as well.
And I just want to share that I don't know how this got past me. Number one, that Claire doesn't have an E on her name here, and that letter C is Silver Key Resource Council. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be Senior Resource Council. So that'll look different on our next agenda. So not quite sure what happened there. So anyway.
Okay. All right. So next is a chair report, and just a couple of things I had. Number one was I just, last month we talked a bit about adopting one of the AARPH friendly areas. And what I asked was, could commission members kind of look at those areas and then think about adopting one of those as to go out and get more information, or to just become maybe our little own guru within this group about that topic. And I just wanted to say, I've been giving it some thought, and I thought of, I just had this little grid here. Okay. So it's a number of items, just like housing. And, Dave, who was going to talk today and couldn't come, he said, oh, I want to jump into housing. But there's also the other groups are outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, communication and information, civic participation and employment, respect and social inclusion, and health services and community support. So I've been personally giving it a lot of thought. And what I'm interested in is the civic participation and employment. And I think that goes along with the committee I joined, Claire's committee on policy and advocacy. So that's kind of where I'm going to personally focus a little, some learning opportunities for myself, and then to bring that information to share with the rest of the commission. So again, give this some thought and think about where you'd like to spend a little bit of your time. And I know we all lead busy lives, and we have other things on our plate as well, but this might be something that would be good for all of us. And it would not only individually, but then as a group, because we just expand our knowledge and we share that information with each other. And then eventually, hopefully, to impact the community in some way, and because that's what I'm here. The other thing I wanted to say in the chair report was, last month I had suggested we do an icebreaker to get to know one another. Well, I understand that Ppacg, the board, also had an issue about, everybody's tired of Zoom and we'd like to get to know one another on a personal basis. And the way they've handled it, they've decided to open their Zoom room early on the day of their meeting. So they open it like 15 minutes early, so people can come and just chat, just to chat and catch up with each other. And that way you don't eat into the business side of the meeting. They have a very full agenda. And while our agenda may not be full right now in terms of using all the time allotted for the meeting, before you know it, it's going to be packed. So I was wondering, how would you all like us to just, instead of doing an icebreaker at the meeting, just opening up the Zoom room 15 minutes early before the meeting, and it'll give us a time to chat. Any thoughts about that?
I think that's great.
Yep, good idea.
Okay, I see a lot of nodding of heads. And actually,
I think that's great because we're doing it anyway.
well, you're right, because we got on early today. Melissa opened it up early, and now we know that CJ is doing well with stem cells. So there you go. See, and I learned.
Expensive but worth it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so now I want to turn this over to Claire, who is going to give us some information on innovations on aging. And well, she's going to tell us about their 5-year report. Is it 5 years, right? And so I'm looking forward to that. And as we're listening to her, if there's any questions, certainly save them for the end so we can ask. All right.
That sounds great. Thank you, Mitty. And Melissa, if I can share my screen.
I think I've done it, so hopefully I
perfect.
have. Give it a try.
I see it right here. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about the 5-year progress report for Age Friendly. I want to just give a little bit of background in case some of you don't know about Age Friendly or haven't heard about the Age Friendly initiative or haven't kind of been updated in terms of where we are. So at Innovations in Aging, we administer the Age Friendly initiative on behalf of the city of Colorado Springs. And we've done that since the end of 2015 when we launched the Age Friendly Colorado Springs initiative. And this is really a grassroots community-led project where we asked over 100 community members and professionals and experts to figure out what the gaps were, what the needs were in the community, what the challenges were in terms of aging, and come up with 3 to 5 action items per each of those domain areas that Mitty had mentioned earlier. And those domain areas are here on the top of the report. And really help us create the strategic plan on aging for Colorado Springs. So we did that at the beginning of 2016. And AARP approved our report in kind of the middle part of 2016. And then we took off and did the work. So on our website, if you go to our website, you'll find the initial plan from 2016. You'll find a midway report from 2018 that detailed our progress kind of halfway through the time between 2015 and 2020. And then you'll also find this new report, which we just released last week, which details everything we've done over the past 5 years. And we call it a progress report because we know that our first 5 years may have come to an end, but we're not done with our age-friendly work. And we intend to take on another 5 years of work. And all of this, with the commission moving to Ppacg and covering a more broad area of the Pikes Peak region, it's worked out really well for us because our intent was always to have a focus on Colorado Springs for the first 5 years, but then to broaden our work into El Paso County for the second 5 years of Age Friendly. So we've been in some conversations with some of the folks from the county and some folks from Ppacg, and we're working to figure out the best way to broaden this initiative to the county for the next 5 years, so 2021 through 2026. So, we just kind of released this last week and we haven't had a chance to really kind of boil this down and make it into kind of a more manageable, PowerPoint or some graphics, and we will do that. But this is available on our website. You can cruise through it like I'm doing and download a copy on our website, but I'm gonna just hop over a couple, here we go, to the executive summary. And this will tell you a little bit about what we've done, but I wanted to talk about some of the highlights from the past 5 years and some of the things that we felt were really meaningful and meaningful to the community. Now keep in mind, there's over 100 action items in the plan. And if you keep going through the plan, you can look at each action item and the progress and some notes about each of those action items. But there are some pieces that really stood out to us where we felt like we really have made an impact in the community. So a couple of those things were, I know we've probably mentioned it in this group, but I'm not sure. The Affordable Housing Collaborative was formed as sort of an offshoot from the housing domain, and it's an education and advocacy group. BJ Scott, David Lord, Ppacg, and Mary Stegner have led that group. And they really took the work of the housing domain and ran with it, and have created this kind of small collaborative where they work to have an information hub. They've created a website that lists affordable housing options, new affordable housing projects, and just things to sort of be aware of when advocating for the creation of new affordable housing in the Pikes Peak region. Let's see, their website is, I think it's Affordable Housing El Paso. Let's see, before I say this out loud, I'm going to make sure I get it right. So that I'm not pointing you in the wrong direction. Affordable Housing El Paso CO.org. So in all your free time, take a look at that website. It's really interesting and really comprehensive, and a great look at sort of what's happening in terms of affordable housing in our community. We've talked about the information portal, the comprehensive services and resources portal that we created with in conjunction with Ppacg. That website is agefriendlypikespeak.org. And that was one of the most highly recommended action items in the initial plan. The plan had suggested that we need a one-stop shop, or a place where older adults and their caregivers can find all the information and resources that they need in our community. And we launched that last year. I think that's right, Melissa? There it is, the Comprehensive Pikes Peak Resource Portal. That's been a great resource for older adults and caregivers in our community. The hope behind that resource was that it would be comprehensive and really user-friendly. I think that some of the feedback that we had gotten about previous kind of databases like the Network of Care and other websites was that it was just so bulky and overwhelming, and folks would really get lost in the 40,000 or however many listings I think there were on that site. And so our hope was to really pare that down and make a user-friendly and comprehensive website that would point folks directly to the resource that they need, and then they could do their own research from there. So agefriendlypikespeak.org is that resource, so take a look at that as well. Really interesting, and let us know what you think. When we released the plan in 2016, the Better Business Bureau really just kind of took one idea and ran with it, and they created the Age-Friendly Business Designation Program. So that program certifies businesses through the BBB, and these businesses have completed a checklist of items that would make them age-friendly, or just really welcoming and open and aware of the needs of people of all ages, which benefit older adults in turn. So the BBB staff will send out some staff members, and they look at things like, what does the parking lot look like? Are there enough accessible parking spots? What does their marketing look like? Is it readable? Is their website readable? What's their customer service like? Really just a variety of kind of age-friendly topics. And then if the business passes that, then they're awarded that age-friendly business certification. The last time that I checked, I think there were over 100 age-friendly businesses in the Pikes Peak region, and a few countries or a few cities across the country that have taken on the age-friendly business designation at their BBBs. So Austin has one, and Columbus, I believe, and a couple others that are using our age-friendly business certification as a model in their community. And then, there's a number of other kind of highlights and really interesting things that have happened over the last 5 years. So please, take a look and kind of scroll through the plan. You'll see that from the midway report to now, the final report, kind of the status of how we report the progress of the different action items has changed a little bit. We added this reconsidered category for the final progress report because we know this is a fluid plan, and we know that things change a lot in 5 years. 5 years is a long time to plan for. And so there were a number of programs, that were written into the plan that don't exist anymore. And one example is the Encore Leadership Program at Leadership Pikes Peak. That program is not in existence anymore. And so that is under the reconsidered category, where we give some different options of other things that are happening in the community that are similar to that program. But we do have a 93% conversion rate in terms of completing the implementation of the action items in the plan, which we were really excited about. So feel free to look through this and send me any feedback, thoughts, ideas, and especially things that we might have missed. So, 5 years ago, these were the things that the community said were important. And we know that this plan doesn't talk about retirement. It doesn't talk about advanced directives. It doesn't talk about behavioral health and mental health services. It doesn't talk about spiritual care and spiritual life. So there are a number of things that, just along the way over the last 5 years, we've realized or we understand are important. So if there are things that you go, yep, this is missing from the plan, let me know, because we want to kind of create an appendix or an addendum to this plan of things that need to be included in 2.0 in the second 5 years. And then if, things change, like I said, and things can change so rapidly. So if, we're reporting on something like this is a great example here, One Ride. One Ride is now becoming Mobility Ride, with a partnership with Invita, Silver Key, and Fountain Valley Senior Center. So this, spotlight is changing a little bit already. So we plan to release a kind of an appendix of things that have changed over the past 5 years, and kind of what's happening now. So I'm talking a lot. So let me stop and ask if there are any questions or thoughts.
Claire, I just have to say that I'm so impressed. I was kind of in on it at the beginning, just the first session, and just watching what you've done and the team that you have. I mean, it really is outstanding. Congratulations.
I think it's great the way it's broken down, Claire. It's really like you can understand exactly what the thought was, where you want to go. I really like that. And I really like that you're thinking about other areas, like when you said the mental health, the spiritual health, all those things. I just think that's really great.
Great. Good. I think right now we're sort of figuring out how we start the process of Age-Friendly 2.0 is what we keep calling it, which is really kind of like age-friendly Pikes Peak region. For the creation of the first plan, we did a number of listening sessions, a community needs assessment. There were lots of pieces that went into the creation of that first plan. Given that things are a lot different right now, and with COVID, I think we're sort of trying to figure out what our strategy is and how we are going to get, out into the county and reach some of the more rural areas. to create this second plan. So I'm not sure that we kind of know what that looks like yet, but we're working on it. And our hope is to kind of launch that process for 2.0 at the end of this year, like at the end of 2021.
Claire,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Melissa, and then.
And just thinking about the idea of trying to engage additional people, not only for the Commission on Aging, but also for the next round of age-friendly and for different communities to want to become more age-friendly. I would be curious from the people who are on the commission now, who were kind of part of the beginning of Innovations in Aging when you guys were doing the age-friendly work, because I think there's a couple of people here. I would like to hear what inspired them to kind of join in on that early work with Innovations in Aging. If we could just take a minute and hear that from a couple of people who might want to share what inspired them to get involved back a while ago, if that's okay.
I'll jump in there. So I think, well, I was, as I said, executive director of the Bridge Assisted Living, and to be part of the age-friendly initiative was really important. It was important as a business. It was important for our seniors. It was important for families. And it just, knowing that the Better Business Bureau was kind of really encouraging that. And then the process you have to go through to get that. Not that it's incredibly hard, but I mean, it's things you think about you never thought about before. Are your name tags big enough? Can people read them? Do they understand your propaganda and what you're saying? Are you do what you say to do? I'm sorry. So, pardon me. So I think it was just essential. If you're going to be part of this community and part of working with seniors, you needed to be involved with that. And aging, Innovations of Aging was where it's at.
And that's I was working for Kaiser Permanente at the time, and it was Claire remembers, it was very important to us that we be a part of this, because our senior population for our members is pretty big, and the very first clinic we opened in Colorado Springs was a senior clinic. So it was very important that we participated in this, and that we got the designation as an age-friendly business. So. And I think it was, I remember when Claire, when you all first started this, it was just so refreshing to hear that somebody was actually really bona fidely interested in addressing the things that are needed to make this community comfortable for people as they age, not to age out of this community, but to age into it.
This is Jody. I was the chair of the social participation area, and at that time I was the director of the Colorado Springs Senior Center, and so it just completely summarized what we were about as a senior center, encouraging social engagement and participation at any level, whether it's someone coming in for lunch and sitting in the sunroom to read a book or work on a puzzle. It didn't matter how little or how much someone is engaged. It's better than sitting at home alone watching a television. And that is something that studies showed over and over again, and continue to show, that even engagement with that happening around you is better than tech and electronics, which ironically is completely flies in the face of what we've been doing this last year. But in 2015-16, when we really kicked off the social participation area of the age-friendly process, it made sense for us as a senior center and senior center staff to be involved in that. And you can see there the 460 older adults and 140 caregivers. We were very fortunate. We had, thinking of the original team that was part of the 6-week process, we had more than half of that group made up of older adults, and at least 2 parent adult child team members, teams who came in, because then they could speak to not just what socialization means for the older adult, but what that means for the family and the caregivers, the family caregivers, and things like that. So for me, it just made sense because that's what I do, is encourage social participation, and that's what I've done across my almost 25 years of senior services, is make sure that people are engaged at all levels and activities, and as much or as little as they want to or can be part of. So I'm very proud to have been part of that, part of the process early on.
So Claire, I had a question. I was not part of the beginning. It sounds like it was a lot of team spirit that came together. And so that's wonderful. And it looks like some amazing work was done. My question is, as you move out to the county, which is going to look different, right?
Mhm.
Are you collaborating with, I'm trying to think of the subcommittee, and is it RAC SRS? Is that it? Where they put together a plan? Like a 4-year plan? Jody, I may have the wrong
Acronyms.
Yeah, good question. It's the Regional Advisory Council's SRS. They review our mandated 4-year plan to the state, as well as provide input for the new 4-year plan, so that it's not the traditional report that goes on the shelf and we revisit that in 4 years. This is something that's that participants and members of the Regional Advisory Council are actively participating in to help with. So in fact, Dave Betzler was part of that in his time with us there as well. That is, while there's nothing right now, I think that's probably actually a great idea, Claire, because it ultimately speaks to the region. And it speaks to the work that's going across the 3 counties. So, touch base with me, and let's plan to talk about what that might look like.
That's a great idea. I just added that to my list. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I was just thinking, because I remember I did sit in recently on one of their meetings, and I knew they were putting together a plan. And so, it's 4 years and yours is 5 years. And I just wondering if some of those items would dovetail in some way, So
yeah,
so Claire,
there could be a lot of crossover in there, because ultimately our 4-year plan is much like a strategic plan that we report up to the state. The state compiles all 16 reports from all 16 AAAs, and then that ultimately is created into one report that goes between the State Unit on Aging, which is a part of the Department of Human Services, ultimately to the legislature. So it does, it's not just checking a box. It really speaks to our overall funding and services for seniors in the 3 county regions. So it's very important. The neat thing is, well, I shouldn't say neat. It's a little stressful right now for me, especially as a fairly new AAA director, is that I had the opportunity to sit with Dave and Melissa and other volunteers from the Regional Advisory Council, because I did sit there for 2 years before I came on staff, and putting together that 4-year plan. The current one expires in 23. But AAA directors like myself across the state are already discussing getting started on the next 4-year plan. So it's always, it's an always process. So, but the beauty of what we've done within the Area Agency on Aging with the 4-year plan is make sure that it also dovetails with our Ppacg, our Council of Governments strategic plan. And so everything works together. So in this case, I see, an age friendly from the regional perspective and the county perspective being yet one more area to dovetail, because ultimately that shows every level of collaboration. right? You have the local organizations, you have the regional organizations, the county, and organizations like yours, the Commission on Aging, as well as Innovations in Aging and their board and all those, just working together to ultimately make the Pikes Peak region a better place to age, a better place to retire, a better place to live. And as we've talked, Claire, you've been really good about saying that this isn't just about aging, it's that 8 to 80. What does it look like? How do we make sure that someone who lives here and grows up here wants to stay here? And so I think it all works together, and you guys are this commission, the Innovations in Aging, our TRS subcommittees, they all have different roles, but ultimately can be walking down that same path for the same goal.
Wow. I had one more question, and that's at the top of the page. You have here the green, you completed, the yellow in progress. What do you mean by reconsidered? Like you had a goal, but you decided it wasn't necessary?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of a good example. There are a number of things that were written into the plan where it doesn't exist anymore. So like, let me see if I could quickly kind of, I know this hurts your eyes here to go quick through. So like, here's a good example. One of these action items was to develop a local conversation project for advanced care planning. There are so many folks doing this right now, right? And we know that advanced care planning needs to be highlighted more in the next plan. So this is one of those ones where we said, okay, let's just hold off, let's wait, and we're gonna focus on this as much as we can in the next plan. That other example was that, Encore Leadership was a program at Leadership Pikes Peak. That program doesn't exist anymore. They don't run that program anymore. And it was written into the plan in one of these areas as a program we wanted to support and help advertise and outreach for. And since that doesn't exist anymore, that went into the reconsidered category. And we gave some other similar options for civic engagement and volunteering that folks could take a look at since Encore Leadership doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
I have two questions, Claire.
Yes.
I know that I have brought this up before, but for the second half of the aging plan going forward for the next 5 years, I understand, is it still only going to be the Better Business Bureau being the one to certify people in age friendly? Because I know we discussed this before, because if you're not a member of the Better Business Bureau, you can never get that designation. And that seems a little counterintuitive to me, who had been in senior living, and my company wasn't a member of the Better Business Bureau, and we offered senior housing and we couldn't even be eligible for it. So I just kind of wanted to go over that again as we're going into the second, because to me, it seems like for lack of a better term, are you buying the designation? I don't know, because that could be maybe what people see is, if you don't join our company, then you don't even have a shot at being the age friendly. So I kind of wanted to, before we start off on the next 5 years, like, how is that explained to the public?
Yep. And, and I don't know that I have a good answer to that question right now. But you're right. So, I mean, when we created the BBB designation, there were lots of folks who didn't want to join the Better Business Bureau. They didn't have the means to join the Better Business Bureau. There were a lot of, kind of issues with that. I don't know that I have a better answer right now for you. I don't think we've figured that out yet. I don't know that it will be written into the second plan, if that's just something that came out of the first plan and we find a better option, or do something different in the second plan.
Or a different way to be designated, other than they're not the only carrier that does it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means. I'm just asking because, for those reasons you said, if your company can't afford it or whatever, that's a lot of, if you're doing something age friendly, you want that designation attached to you. I mean, that's more awareness. And And my other question is there a list of these age friendly that we can share and what categories they fall into?
Yep, there is. So on the BBB website, and I can put a link in the chat to that, you can see which businesses are age friendly.
Okay.
There is a list there that I can send. Yep. And I put that on my list again of something that we got to think about and actually figure out.
Speak to that a little
moving
bit.
forward.
Can I speak
Yeah.
to that a little bit?
Yep.
From Woodland Park, Teller County, I was a member of Better Business Bureau. I still am, and I desperately wanted the designation. And at the time, they weren't coming to Teller County and offering that age friendly. Though I hit every requirement they needed, and I signed up for it. I paid for it, and they returned my money because they weren't coming to Teller County. And I was like, what? Why would you throw that out to your group, your organization, from your organization, if you're not allowing people to have it, depending on where they're located? And so I actually am age friendly designated by them now. They extended their boundaries. But I totally agree with Elisa. The designation has to be open to businesses that are serving seniors. It's not cheap to be a member of Better Business Bureau. It's definitely not cheap for a small nonprofit like me. But I think there has to be a designation coming from somewhere other than that.
Well, and do you mind if I have an input too? It's just not only you pay the Better Business Bureau to be a member of that, but it's also more expensive when you are an age-friendly designation.
Correct.
So I felt it should have had a discount rather than kind of be penalized. Sorry, Claire, you and I have talked about that before, but that's just right. And I don't think Innovation Nation got the money for it because you're a nonprofit.
And how far out does the Better Business Bureau go? What are their parameters as far as where the age friendly stops? Like, is it, is it Manitou Springs? Is it Colorado Springs? I mean, how do we be more inclusive about that age friendly title?
And should they be the ones, and should they be the ones choosing those boundaries? Should it be someone from this commission or someone from the Innovation on Aging guiding their decision?
Well, and I'm just saying because they're also an entity, right? And they're making money. They have to make money to get this designation from other businesses. And they're making money on the initial investment. And then there's money on when we tried to sign up, there's another money to get the designation. So they are making money and their name is attached. So I'm not sure, like, you and I had that conversation. We were age friendly, and for whatever reason, my company didn't want to join. But why would we not be able to get a designation that says we're age friendly? Because we do senior living, and we were doing it for 50 years. So that seems weird. I don't know. I just don't. It seems a little weird to me.
Yeah, and we've told, I think all of us, except for Paula, we've all had this conversation, and I totally get it. And at the time it was all about capacity. We're a 2-person operation, and we couldn't handle the certifying of age-friendly businesses, and the BBB took it and ran with it, and it was sort of the best option at the time. But absolutely, like, I hear you on all of these issues with it, and I think we've gone back and tried to kind of circle back with the BBB on some of these things, and just it hasn't been the right time, I think, and but now it is the right time to make sure we go back and figure it out.
So maybe this is an advocacy issue we can think about. So let's let's explore that, and let's explore the ways we can make we can make something happen. All right.
Okay. Perfect.
Great. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Clara, that was a great. I can't wait. That's going to be some reading, and let's all pull this up and read it and give it some thought. And let me just say one thing here, in closing this, Claire, what is your biggest need now as you prepare for 21 to 26? Is it to gather the information necessary to figure out what your touch points are going to be?
Yeah, I think the biggest need here coming up quickly is going to be figuring out how we get to the public and how we talk about what the challenges are and the gaps and the needs, and especially in the more rural areas. How do we find that information out, given that we're kind of a virtual world right now? And so I wonder, Mitty, maybe if sometime in the next couple months we can circle back around on that, because I would love the input of this group on that, to kind of help us plan, how we do that and how we get that done.
Very good.
I think that's going to be the first big thing. And then we'll of course want everyone to be involved if you're interested in the creation of the second plan.
Okay, well, yeah. So everybody just give this some thought individually and jot down your ideas as they come to you. Because if you're like me, I have a great idea. And then 2 hours later, I'm
write it down.
What was that idea? So jot them down and let's bring them back and help get this thing off the floor, because that's going to benefit all of us, right?
Yep.
Well, not quite yet, Park County and Teller, but hopefully we'll expand these ideas into Park County and Teller, right? That's the
Right.
idea. And then bring the representation into the COA. Okay, did you have anything else, Claire? Or?
I don't think
I
so,
have
but
some-
thank you so much.
Well, thank
And
you.
I have something just to add on at the end of that, for people to kind of consider and think about, especially in Colorado Springs. I don't know if this is happening in Woodland Park, Teller County area, but we have a city council election coming up in April. And so you're going to start to see a lot of, conversations and discussions around hot topics and issues. And so as a commission, if you start seeing some things that are coming out in those conversations or things that are not coming out in those conversations, really try to remember to take notes on that and bring that back to this group so that we can dig into that a little bit. By the time we meet again, it'll be April 7th, so it'll be right before that election even happens. And so if there's anything really pertinent that comes up, you might want to email Mitty and maybe, just kind of raise some awareness. Now's a good time to be thinking about, policy and, hearing the conversations and what people are talking about, more importantly, what people aren't talking about. So just kind of a little thing to keep in mind along with this whole age-friendly movement.
Thank you, Melissa. Great thoughts. Okay, let's check the calendar real quick and see what we have coming up. And April, we have I think this is is it National Policy Summit? Am I right, Melissa? Is it a national? Or Jody?
Yeah, I'll answer that. Yeah, that's the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, regular aging policy and advocacy summit. At this time, we still know the dates. That's April 27th through April 29. It's 3 days. You are welcome to go to the n4a.org website and look for the policy summit. Right now, they still have just a tentative schedule. Looks like days 1 and 2 would probably be the most crucial. If anyone would like to attend that, we will be looking at sharing at least one funding opportunity, probably for your policy chair. I think that's Claire, to attend from our budget. obviously, because we don't have to travel this year, it opens up a little flexibility. So we'll be able to have a couple of representatives, both from staff and most likely one person from the commission. And that's our goal. So they have not opened registration opportunities yet, but as we know more and as we get more information, we'll likely be sharing this out before the next meeting. If we get that information, it's should be coming anytime to us. So
Great. So when you, Melissa sends out the agenda, she also sends out the calendar link to that, or attaches it to the agenda. And so do check the calendar, and it lists different monthly meetings of other groups, and then things coming up. And if you know of something that we don't know about, or that's not on the calendar and you think it should be on the calendar, please let Melissa know, because that's the only way we're going to get information and have everybody in the know.
And Mitty, am I sharing my screen right now with everybody?
No,
No?
well, wait a minute.
Well, it's the
yes,
calendar.
Oh, good. Okay.
I see
So
it. I see it.
I just wanted to make sure. I've been putting some things up and then sometimes I wonder. So great. So there's
Melissa,
Yes.
that happy hour they do on Thursdays is at 4 o'clock.
okay.
Tomorrow,
Thanks.
correct?
Correct. And
Okay,
then the
yeah, I'm-
membership meeting, I'm sorry, I forgot to check when the membership committee meeting is. That's once a month, and I can't remember if it's the third or the second or the third Wednesday of the month. But I'll get with you that before Monday.
And then you'll be on tomorrow.
I'll be on tomorrow.
I'll be on there with you.
Yeah.
Melissa, the only thing is it's small, and when you have senior eyes, I can't see the screen very well.
What am I looking at?
I said the screen looks very small to me. I'm just
So,
telling
Melissa.
Melissa.
Oh,
For those who
Melissa.
see, oh, that's much better. Thank you very much. Okay. So, yes, if there's anything you want to put on the calendar, let Melissa know.
Okay.
I did get something in the mail, and Claire, I don't know if this is the same group you were talking about, but what I got was something from Colorado Springs Pro Housing Partnership. And they have a, how zoning can ease the affordable housing crisis. They have a March 25th event. I can email it to you, Melissa, if you want to put it on the calendar. For those.
Is that
who
in the
might be-
mail?
No, it came through on an email.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they're a great local group started by 3
Yeah.
CC students actually. And they do good work.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
I saw something about a group called, I think on LinkedIn, called Curb. Have you heard about any of that? Is it Colorado Springs where they're doing like modular, very small for like seniors and stuff? I'll kind of look into it and see if I can find anything that I can share with us. It looked very interesting.
That'd be great.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add or say at this point? No? Okay.
I just
Well,
ask a favor,
yes.
Melissa, can you stay on for a minute afterward?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay, Connie. All right. So again, welcome to Dave and Paula. And I know I talked to Dave a couple of times on the phone, and Paula, I'm going to call you and we can chat on the phone too. It's just nice to get to know people a little more. And one day soon we'll be in a room, and I'm hoping it happens very, very soon. It's hard for me to sit in one place, and it's hard for me not to talk with my hands that I usually do that. And I can't do that on Zoom. So I'm anxious to get in a room. And I know restrictions are loosening up a bit, so maybe soon we can see each other in person. Until then,
I hope so.
I will see you next month, same time, same place.
Thank you.
Have a good
Okay.
night, everybody.
Mhm.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, right before you ladies leave, we have what, an executive committee meeting this coming week too.
Yeah, Monday at 11 Mountain Time.
All right, I'll see you then.
You can stay on too if you want to a minute.
Okay. Melissa, your hair looks so cute.
Thanks. It's been a fun day.
Is it just us?
So I see Emmeline is still there, but I don't know if she really is still there. There she is.
I was wondering if you'd like for me to stay.
Nope, you can head out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It made it sound like a big deal, but it really isn't. I never got, unless I did something with it. I don't have Chuck's application.
I don't know if it's come through, so I'll have to, although I do
Oh.
think it, give me 1 second here. Let me take a peek. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here for a second. Let me
You
take
go
a
right
peek
ahead.
because, yeah, I might have to resend that to you because I might have gotten it right at the very beginning. Let's see.
He made it sound like he hadn't heard anything because he submitted
Yeah.
a long time ago.
And
I'm
what did we
trying
do?
so hard to get a system.
Yeah. So I don't see it there. So I'll look around very briefly. Like there's a part of me that remembers that he sent it, but then why it's not right here in this folder.
I
that-
think
where
I
put
remember
all the-
hearing that early on when they kind of talked about him
Huh.
from Fountain Valley and that he was going to submit one. And I mean, I just don't know. I just didn't, if it's my error, I didn't want to announce that to the world. Because I do tend to get rid of emails, you know, if I don't put them in a file on my desktop, then they're often not there.
Yeah, Melissa, if you do have a good person that you think from Park County, if you can't do it, Connie, I'll reach out because I really.
Well, you
think
know, and
have
that's what I was going to
representation.
bring up at the meeting is Mitty sent me the list and I don't know what it's a list of. I mean, it's all these names. It might be the RAC. I don't know. Jill
I
Gaber,
think they're
Wayne
just like
Williams.
people that we should have like alliances with. I think that's what that list is.
Yeah, and it lists people. There's some people from Victor and Gabriel Ortega from City of Mountain Valley, but there's no contact. You know, the Green
Right.
Mountain Falls. So I don't know. I mean, a list with a name and where they're from just means nothing to me without
Exactly.
contact.
Right.
But I kind of want to ask this too. I mean, they asked, Claire asked you about setting up her meeting. Do I need to go through you to set up our interviews?
No. So what I really, so it got more confusing with COVID in some ways.
Yeah.
Normally, the only meetings I set up are the actual meeting itself, the actual committee meeting, you know, the big meeting. And then if there's an executive committee that meets, I set that one up. But all
Okay.
the other subcommittees, I probably will not attend, number one.
Well,
And so
no,
I
you're-
definitely don't set them up. But what's happened is that, you know, especially with our regional advisory council, we have some folks that don't have access to a Zoom account or doing anything. And so then I've found myself having to do that. And so ideally, I'm kind of okay doing it right now, but I don't want people to think that that's like my normal routine because I can't attend all these meetings.
Right.
You know, there are so
yeah, and
many.
if you set them up, you have to be there.
Yeah, no,
I
Connie's been setting
cannot.
all ours up.
Yeah. So ideally, Connie, you are just fine to have those membership meetings without me. It makes so much more sense when you can meet in person because you go meet at a coffee shop. I mean, you can kind of do that now, depending on how comfortable you are. So if you need help, let me know, but it sounds like you've already done just fine.
Well, Alyssa is not here. She's in Pennsylvania. So we've done
Yep.
everything on Zoom. But again, and I'm going to bring it up on Monday, but like now, the one we're going to do on Friday with Debbie from the SRC, she really just wants information. I don't want to be interviewing everybody who's a little bit interested, including the one that was on today. If you don't know what you're getting into, because we're not going to accept everybody. You know, we're just not. I mean, that's just, that wouldn't be the right thing, whether they live too many in the right place or they're just
And I really
want-
think the next one should be, my personal opinion is Park County. We have no representation and we have a ton of people from the Springs. And now we only have one in Teller County. I just think if we're gonna really branch out, we need to know what's going on in these other places.
Mhm.
You know, like these little towns and stuff. I mean, because we're so big comparatively, we need to hear what Rama and those people need from us. Like, we can't help advocate for them.
Right.
And have any representation there. And we're
Right.
so big comparatively to them, unless we have a
Right.
strong alliance with them, we can't even like scale down our programs for them if we don't know what they need or what they need help with.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't
And-
know, do we just table other people right now? I mean,
Well, I think with Debbie, did kind of steer her more to the Regional Advisory Council, just because I
Okay.
knew that, and I told her that. I said, we're bringing on at least 2 more people already from El Paso County and, kind of Colorado Springs. And so we have these other areas that the commission needs to be, looking to fill spots in. So she knows that. But then I also told her, because I think she was really excited about the commission. I said, if you really do feel like you want to be a part of the commission and that you have some, information and, kind of skills to share with the commission, maybe you need to kind of go for it too. She's a great community advocate.
Yes.
She knows a lot of people and has done a lot in our community. So there is an element, it's kind of hard to kind of weigh that, especially early on. I think I do agree, even though I know my opinion isn't supposed to matter, but I do agree that it's so important for you guys to be looking outside of Colorado
Right.
Springs.
Like we need like the Callahan people or Falcon out there. We
Yeah.
really need voices about what they're needing, because their rural needs probably at some times, especially in the pandemic and food and crisis, they probably have more
Yeah.
needs than we do.
Right.
We really need to hear about that.
Yep, to get them in. And
Well, I
so
don't-
I think with Debbie, I think it would be really good to have a meeting with her. And we can talk, like if it does get to the place where the commission is pretty sure nobody else from Colorado Springs, if we get people coming in and saying that, we can just say right now, come to the meetings, learn, be a part of the meetings. But at this point, our Colorado Springs and El Paso County slots are filled. People will go off eventually. And so we want people to be familiar with the commission and to attend meetings and,
Right.
stay engaged that way. Just because you're not on the commission doesn't mean don't come. If anything, it means come, because that's how you can get more aware of what's going on.
Right.
So when you get to a place, which might be today, but we'll confirm that with MIDI, that if anybody else from Colorado Springs says, I want to, talk about membership, I can kind of redirect them in that manner that I just said right there. So,
Okay.
Because we
Except-
will in a couple of months with all those other people coming off, with those couple of people coming off. But I really think we need to be like, okay, like, didn't Jessica said she could put out a thing for us? Melissa, just be like, hey, there's a call on the Commission on Aging. We're looking for people 55 and above from Callahan, Falcon, Rama, these
Yeah.
areas. Specifically
That's
Park
perfect.
County.
That's exactly what needs to happen.
yeah. And so
Yeah,
on Monday for the executive committee, because we have talked about that once before, being prepared to send out press releases to these smaller communities.
Or
And so we
use social
can,
media too, if we could.
yeah, we can do both.
Okay.
So, and so I'm going to make a little note for that on Monday.
Because Connie's been scheduling these people right away, and if we could get 1 or 2 people on there from there, we could have their voice as we're trying to determine what we want to make priorities for us as the new commission.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I
I'm
think
really
those spots-
disappointed about Chuck's application here. That kind of worries me a little bit, because I do feel like, but I'm not seeing it anywhere in my stuff. So I'm going to send him an email and include Connie and just say, I have no idea what happened. And so please just send that to us again. Because I am not seeing it anywhere. And I have a folder that has everybody's stuff in it. And so like where it went.
That was my fears. I missed.
I don't know. We'll just call
Somewhere
it
out
for.
Zoom land or, yeah.
Okay,
stuff
well, I feel
and-
better. Well, thank you. Thank you both very much. And I really appreciate your help, Melissa, very much.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
it's going great, Connie, don't you? I mean,
Yeah, I do too. I really
it's going
do.
fast and
Yep.
And so I'm struggling a little bit with the idea of reaching out to the rural communities. So we have this thing. Basically, we have, I don't know that it's so important for Claire right now. For her right now, it's important to expand a little bit to El Paso County for Innovations in Aging to be El Paso County. But for the commission, as well as our regional advisory council, we need that representation from those areas. The RAC needs it too. And so part of me, I really, not only is it going to be great to do a little press release and social media posts, but I'm really thinking that it's time to try to set up some type of official meeting with some county commissioners in Park County, and then with some city managers in El Paso County area. And so I'm going to run that idea by Jody and just kind of see if we might be able to bring, kind of make that happen, probably via Zoom for now, and just kind of get that rolling, because it would sure be smart before any press release goes out into Park County that the Park County commissioners know that this is happening. Now they know
Right,
because they've
we're
been
asking
attending
for
our
people.
Ppacg board meetings. I mean, they do know it,
Yeah.
but we'd sure like for them to be really behind it. And so before we do all that, I think, and we can talk about this again on Monday.
They might be able to help guide us too, Melissa. They might know somebody
Yeah.
that like the senior world is their passion out there, and they've been coming to them as their representatives and saying, what are you going to do about this? And they might just be like, hey, we have 2 names for you. Can you call them? And we will.
Perfect. Yeah. So we'll do that. And then,
I love that idea.
yeah. So,
Okay.
Perfect.
all right, you guys. Yay.
All right. See you soon, ladies.
Thank
Right.
you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks. Bye.